Alright, welcome to another video. I was playing black here, and I saw that my queen was right in line with this rook. I also saw that this pawn here was free, but if I was to take it and he moved his knight, it would expose the rook and the check on my queen. And I thought, well, I'll just move my queen. So I went ahead and I took the pawn. And then, like I thought, he moved his knight. And then I saw my big mistake there, that by doing that, if I do move out of the way, he gets my knight. And that's a pretty good deal for him because he loses one pawn, but he gets my knight, so that would put him at +2. And let's see what that looks like. I get his pawn. He gets my knight, which is worth 3 points. His pawn is worth 1. White is now +2 in that scenario. Let's look at what the computer said to do. That I should have come down and taken his rook. And then he can just recapture my queen. And of course his queen is threatening my knight. I can then take his knight. And in that scenario, what have I gotten? Let's look. Well, in order, I got his pawn, his rook, and his knight. And that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. And he got my queen, 9 points. So as far as points go, it would be even. So that would have been one way I could have turned this 2-point loss around. Because the way I did it, if I move out of the way and he takes, now white is +2. But had I taken the rook, and he takes me, and then I take the knight, we're actually even. Now isn't that something? Now one more scenario, which would not be good for white, but let's show it anyway. Had I taken, and he comes down with his rook and threatens to take my knight, had I come down and again taken, if he would have gotten clever and said, I'm not going to take right away because then his knight will just get me, so I'm going to go ahead and take his knight. Had he done that, had he gone here first and I taken his queen, he gets my queen, I wouldn't just trade queens at that point. So let's go back. What if he gets clever and says, well, I'm going to just take his knight. If he does that, then I get his knight. And in that scenario, I end up getting the pawn, that first move where my knight goes in and takes the pawn. I end up getting his rook with my queen. And then when his knight takes my knight, I recapture with my queen and get his knight. And that would put me at +6. So that would not be good for white. So that's what I did. But had I taken, what would have been the best move? Let's see what the computer says. Best move for white is to take the queen. Now the computer's saying the best move for me is to take the knight with the pawn. But see, then his queen can take my knight. Well, not really, because look, boom. So he can't do that. Okay, so at this point, the computer says the best move for me is to take. The computer says the best move for him is to recapture. And then the computer says the best move for me is not to get his knight this way, but to get his knight this way. But either way, there's the scenario. It ends up being a perfectly even score. Fascinating playing it through like that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a great day.